activity. Then if we go to Newstrom and Davis, they have stated organizational psychology. It is a study of application of knowledge about how people act within the organization for which is working for one particular goal, right? It is human tool for human benefit. Actually, organization is human tool for human benefit, he has stated, and it applies broadly to the human behavior of the people in all types of organizations, not only in one particular. We have in history we have many people who have led very big armies, like we know Adolf Hitler, right? So such big group of people were led under one just single rule. So this is not the first time. And if we go for some more people like Stephen P. Robbins, it was almost all are similar, like group of people working together for certain purpose, applying all the knowledge whatever they are having to improve the organization for its effectiveness. And next, here comes nature of organizational psychology. So nature, over a period of time, if the employees are affected by the work experience and the organization as well as with his personal experience, like suppose one person have joined an organization suddenly, means uh, newly a person have joined. So his personal experience outside from where he's coming and his background, the cultural and all the other backgrounds will also be affecting the organization where he's going to join, and his work experience also is going to affect the organization. And further, when the worker starts working in the organization and after certain period of time, this is also going to affect the presence and even the absence of the person. If the person is present, there will be some difference in the work going on, and if the person is absent, for suppose if the person is on leave or maybe away from the institution or the organization, there will be clear difference seen, because the behavior, overall behavior of the person is going to definitely affect the organization. So thus, organizational psychology investigates human behavior within the organization, and the individual organization interaction also will be observed. And we can divide overall the nature of organization psychology as three aspects, like individual behavior in the organizational setting, means how the individual will behave in the organizational setting, and what is actually organization, and then the interaction between the organization and the individual who is going to join the organization. So one is external environment, one is internal environment. When we consider the organization as internal environment, so here all the three, all like when the person comes into the environment, then his behavior, how it is, how the person is interacting with the organization, and what are his ideologies here he is going to use or affect the organization setup, everything. So based on these two things, like definitions and nature of psychology, nature of organizational psychology, we may expect questions like define organizational psychology. We may expect or give some definitions given by historians about organizational psychology. We may expect such question. And one more question is discuss the nature of organizational psychology. We can expect this question, right? Now, coming to um, different facets of organizational psychology. So here we have different phases, like behavioral approach to the management, cause and effect of the relation between management and the individual, and organizational psychology, and other branches, how they are going to affect, like social sciences we have, anthropology we have, all other branches of sciences, how they are going to affect. And then theory, research, what is the theory given by the earlier people and whatever the research they have done, and how they have applied that to the organizational psychology. And then advantages to both employee and the management. Here we need to discuss about these different phases about the organizational psychology. And then rational thinking. Rational thinking is also one of the major factor, whether it is going to be equal, providing equal rights to the individuals who are working in the institution, and whether it is going to be helpful and effective to the organization. So whatever the thoughts and whatever the ideologies given by the historians who worked under the organizational psychology, these all these things we are going to study in the further coming chapters. And now, coming to the contribution. What are the contributions of other branches of sciences into the organizational psychology? Let us see. So, if we come to sociology, sociology is nothing but study of human behavior in the society, right? We all know that it is study of human um, beings in the society and how they behave in the society. It studies the behavior of people in the society in relation to their fellow human beings, like with other people, how they are behaving, and how they are behaving in the like group of people when they are coming out into the group, how they are behaving. Socialization is a process which influences the attitudes and behavioral patterns of the employees working in an organization. Why we need to discuss about sociology, how it is going to affect organizational psychology means, this is the point. Like how the social behaviors of the people, how they are behaving outside, how it is going to affect the uh, organization and their behavior in the organization. Like that we have to discuss. And anthropology. Anthropology, we all know about anthropology. That is what cultural backgrounds they have, like their family background and their society background. Like some people will be living in certain societies where it may not be accepted by others, but up to their particular group of people, they set their particular own rules and they continue with that. Whether the society is going to accept it or not, up to that particular group, they are going to make it as rule and they follow it. So if such person coming from such background, if he enters into any organization, suppose, then what is the effect on the organization, whether he is going to change the productivity in the organization, or he may change the thought process of other people who are surrounding him. There are certain effects from the anthropology that we have to consider that also, right? And then political science. We know that every organization need very large support from the political groups which are working in that particular area. Suppose we have set one organization in one area, there the local political parties support is large amount of support is needed for the organization to run, because any organization, it is not just one small, like running a family. If we take running a family also, it needs roads and transportation, it needs all the regular basis goods, and they may need the food what they need, and transportation, as we talk about. There are many things which are interconnected. If one family has these many needs, then we can imagine how an organization, definitely it will be they need the help of the local parties, political leaders, and not only political leaders, the local governing body also. The people need the permissions for setting up the organization, because it is group of people working together for one common goal, right? So for that reason, we need even political science also have its effect over the organizational psychology. Coming to economics. Economics is everywhere in the human life. So obviously, when an organization is working for the whole group of people, that is going to affect definitely the budget they have to see, and and the contributions of the economics, we can say that labor, how they are working, and market wages, how the market wages are. All these things they have to consider, and then they have to make out their financial planning according to their budget. So economics also have a lot of impact over the organizational psychology. And here one more thing we have to remember, that is uh, the wages are the incentives which are set to the a labor which is working in the organization, that has to satisfy both sides, like employee side, and even the organization also should not be in loss, whereas the organization has to show the profit to the management, or for the further benefits of the organization. It is a must thing. And coming to the if we check the questions, what questions we are going to get in this area, it is discuss briefly the contribution of sociology, or they may ask, write the impact of anthropology on organizational psychology, what is contribution of economics on the organizational psychology. Like this, we may get on any of the topics one question, maybe a short question we may expect. So, once if we go back to the um, full chapter, if we check once, so we have facets, we have introduction, and we have definitions, and then we have contribution of different other sciences on this organizational psychology. And coming to the next chapter, that is our so second topic, that is history of organizational psychology. Now, just a minute. So coming to the history of organizational psychology, we have numerous and complex factors to discuss about, like discipline of organizational behavior attempts to understand these interactions so that managers can predict behavioral responses. As a result, manage the setting the results of the outcomes. They have to check the productivity rate and as well as satisfaction of the workers who are working in the organization. And when we go for the history, then we have early years, Greek philosopher Plato wrote about leadership, and Aristotle also mentioned about persuasive communication. Writings of 16th century Italian philosopher Niccolo Machiavelli laid the foundation for contemporary work on organizational power and politics. In 1776, we can see this. And then Adam Smith advocated a new form of organizational structure based on the division of labor. And in 19th century, large number of people, they have been required to work together to manage, to it's like manager and subordinate relationships have to be worked on. So the relations were not good before this, before we can say before 19th century. The relation between the subordinate and the workers or the managers and subordinates were not good. So the people started thinking about the relationship development. If the relationship is developed, then automatically the productivity or the final goal what we are thinking about will be achieved. Like that, they started thinking in that angle. And we have if we go back once, classical school, there are many writers who have worked on this, and they said that in the classical school, their approach towards the human is human is like organization is a machine, and human beings are components of that machine. So if it's like efficiency of the organization can be increased by making human uh, efficient person. Like if the human is very much efficient, obviously the organization will also grow, or the work will go smoothly. They used to think like that. And there were major four pillars for the classical school. That is the division of labor. They have discussed about, like, if the performance of the based on the performance of the labors, if they are divided, then the work repeatedly, the work will be done in the same work will be repeated, and then they will become efficient, more efficient in that. Like that, the division of labor was based on that. And then scalar and functional processor. The authority will be like chain. The authority will be, it will be going on divided between the subordinate manager and labor. Like that, it will be going on division. So department wise, the grouping was done. And specialized duties were allotted to different groups. So based on that, the responsibilities and authorities were also divided. So this is all a scalar process. And then structure of the organization, it is the framework of the formal relationships among various tasks, activities, and the people in the organization. It was framework of all the three things, like structure of the organization, and various tasks and activities, and the people. These three people, these three things were they were all, it is like a frame of the organization. And the basic structural element in the classical theory is position. Position, each position is assigned a specific task, and authority is delegated for its accomplishment. They have to do certain work, and for that they have been given an authority. And then span of control. The span of control means the number of subordinates a manager can control. If the number of subordinates increase, it may be out of the control. Or if it is too less also, that may be like it's below the efficiency of the manager. So that span of control will be checked once before the authority is handed over. And then we have many people who worked under the classical school. The classical approach consisted of important theories of organizational behavior, such as Taylor's scientific management theory, and Foyle's administrative theory, Weber's bureaucratic theory, and then human relations theory, the last one, which now it is going on. Actually, it is followed nowadays. So let us discuss everyone, like all of them. So Taylor's scientific management theory. It is believed that the best management is true science, according to Taylor. He was a 20th century person. So Frederick Winslow Taylor was his full name. And his researches, he did researches in the management industry. So he has taken out many. He went with different applications of different um, uh, plants on the in the industries, and he worked with them, with the workers, and he tried different things. And one finally he took out one best thing, that is, he said that the best management is true science, and he was considered as a father of scientific management. Taylor was considered as father of scientific management, and not only father, but he was pioneer of the modern management approaches. Till then, that was different, and after 19th century, in 20th century, that the approach was different. So Taylor came up with a new approach. So what he said is, he advocated that the traditional managers, instead of being authoritarian, should develop a new approach and change to a more comprehensive and broader of their jobs, incorporating elements of planning, organizing, and controlling. Planning first, then organizing, and then controlling. Scientific management came into existence as a part of need to enhance productivity. The final aim was improve the productivity in the organization. But the approach has to be changed. The main intention was the approach, whatever we were, like organizations were going with, the managers or the subordinates who were going with certain approach, that has to be changed. That was the first intention of the Taylor. And he gave certain he concluded with certain observations that management had no clarity about worker management responsibilities. He said that there is no clarity between the relationship of worker and management. No clarity in between that. And there was no effective standards of work. This work is meant for this only. Like that, there was no standards, and failure of the management to design jobs properly. That was also one of the observation what he gave. And proper incentives were not given to the workers. That is also one of the main motto lacking thing for the worker to work with the interest or with the motivation. And most decisions of the management were unscientific, as they were based on a hunch, intuition, past experience, and rule of thumb. Like earlier what they have seen, based on the on that they have changed the rules and regulations, but there was no proper scientific investigation was done, and there that was not changed in a proper way, what he says. Most and lack of proper studies about the division of work among the departments, how the departments have to be divided. This is not there, this was not there in the earlier industries. And placement of workers without consideration of work among the departments, and their ability and aptitude, how they are, whether they are able to do the work or not, that was not considered properly, and their interest was also not at all considered. And out of all these observations what he gave, he have applied many different aspects. Like he took one worker and he gave a motivation for the worker that your wages will be increased if you do whatever I say without questioning. So that he applied, and he observed that there was lot of change in the worker behavior and the way what he works. So he applied such small tricks for enhancement of the productivity. And then he, like this, he applied, he did many researches, and finally he brought up one best way was the policy he brought up into the work improvement. So Tyler selected a Pennsylvanian Dutchman named Skimt and offered him increase in the pay. So that this was finally he said that this is a one best way. And the principles what Taylor has given were development of true science of work for the benefit of worker and the management. Both has to be benefited. He thought in a way that worker has to also be benefited and the management also should be benefited. And then scientific education, scientific selection, progressive development of the workmanship. So selection of the worker should be in such a way that how successfully the performance is going on. it has to be checked properly, and the worker who possesses the required physical and intellectual ability has to be selected for the post. This was one of the major difference he brought. And then scientific education and development of workers. Workers has to be, they need to be trained, and they have to be given a certain education regarding the work what they are going to do. So that was also one of the major responsibility he added into the management side. And then intimate and friendly cooperation between the management and the workers. The final and most important thing what he laid down in his principles is cooperation is very important between the management and a worker. Without the cooperation, we also observe many times that without the cooperation, there can't be any work completed. Actually, may be completed, but it won't be a successful one, right? Now, coming to the questions part, there may be a short question in this. Maybe long also we may expect, like what are the backdrops, what he laid, like observation, what Taylor have observed, and then what principles he has given. Altogether, one essay question we may get in this. And there may be a short question, what is scientific management theory? Taylor's scientific management theory. Only principles we need to write in that case. And then comes Foyle's administrative theory. Henry Foyle was a managing director of mining company in France. Once in 1888, I think there was big loss. Almost the company went into bankruptcy. So then this Foyle had taken over it and enabled the company to raise to a greater financial success. So during this period, this Foyle has developed a very good administrative theory. According to him, the efficient managerial practices can be classified into certain patterns, and he identified and analyzed them, and he gave 6 groups. He has divided them. Technical activities, like which deals with the machines of the company or the organization, and manufacture, and how they are adapting that, how the working people are adapting the technical work, whether they are learning the new things which are coming into the system, or are they just moving on with them, like that. It has to be analyzed, he said. And commercial activities, the next one is commercial activities, like it deals with the capital, how we are using the capital to optimize, to be frank, to optimize a capital. Wherever it is needed, there only the money has to be spent. That is one of the best thing management has to remember always. Because if the management is careless about the commercial activities, then the situation like this, like bankruptcy and a lot of loss, productivity rate may decrease, these all they may face. And then financial activities deals with the searching for optimum use of capital, and then buying and selling, exchange of goods, all these. And coming to the security, deals with the protection of the property and as well as the person, like who is working in the institution. And then accounting activities deals with stock taking and balance sheets, cost, statistics, and all these things. And then managerial activities deals with the planning, organization, command, coordination, control. So all these things will be have to be analyzed, he said. And as the 5 activities were commonly studied by any or many theorists, but managerial activities are generally not considered. Generally, the people, they will have their own organization. The one person will be handling all the things, like all the 5, 6 elements, dealing with the commercial activities, dealing with the financial activities, dealing with the security, dealing with the technical things. Technical things, sometimes they may hire a person who can deal with the technology very well, but most of the things will be handled by one single person. If the organization is of one person, then all these things will be organized or dealt by just one single person. So management functions, Foyle states that managerial activity can be exercised in a similar way by the people in different managerial positions. Planning has to be effectively done. That is, it refers to the developing a plan of action and then helps the organization to work effectively. So plan of action has to be set up first. Then organization refers to gathering of material and human resources. Both, like material has to be gathered, what all are needed for the organization, and as well as the human resources are also should be gathered. Then the command. Instructions to the workers should be laid down particularly like in the form of the general principles of the management. It should be laid down. And then coordination. It consists of working together and balancing all activities. Efforts of uh, working people and organization. Both there should be coordination in between both. And then control. It is objective, like to obtain the conformity with the plan of action, the instructions issued and principles established should be under one control. They should be looked after by one particular person. So these are the principles of management which are flexible and they can be applied to various settings, not only one particular type of institutions or organizations. They can be applied to any type of institutions. Then the management theory, particularly, he gave some outlines of the principles of management: division of work, authority and responsibility, discipline, unity of command, unity of direction, subordinate of individual interest to general interest, remuneration of personal, centralization, scalar chain. All these are the principles of management. Division of work should be apt. Efficiency of the workers needed to be kept in mind. Authority and responsibility has to be handed over to the person who is very well educated, or adequate authority has to be given to the person, first of all. And discipline. Discipline, the worker should obey the rules of the organization, that has to be checked properly. And then unity of command. Only one boss should be there to get the work done in a proper way. And direction from the top level, like from the manager to the worker, uh, the the commands or the rules has to be passed down in one particular direction. And should have a same purpose. All should have a same purpose. It's not that one person gave some rule and the other has interfered in that, and they should change something else. So interpersonal interest may spoil the overall outcome. That should not be done. Like it should be checked properly. And subordinate of individual interest to general interest. Individual interest should not be entertained, but it should be at the same time it has to be given a little importance so that it can be discussed. And then it should it's like it should not overcome the overall intention of the organization. That's it. But it should not be kept aside also. Then remuneration of personal salaries which are paid plays a very major role, right? So both worker and management should satisfy here. Then only it will be good for both sides. And then centralization. The decision making is left to higher level managers. It is known as centralization. Only the higher level people will be taking the decisions, and it has to be, actually the power has to be given to the people who are effective at the work. It should be divided. And then scalar chain from higher end to the lower end, the division of authority has to be done properly. And communication is very more important. If the communication is lacking, then the total work can be disturbed. Next comes Weber's bureaucratic theory. We all know what is bureaucratic theory. Bureaucratic theory is something which just rule is passed without without a approach of emotion and human thoughts. and feelings. Just rules are laid and everybody at any cost has to follow that. This is generally called as bureaucratic behavior or theory, we can say. So classical theory, especially Taylor, scientific management was essentially seen as a development of industrial engineering. And by 1930, it lost its validity. Then Max Weber theory of bureaucrat came into existence. He was a German sociologist, and to fill the space of the management, this affects this Max Weber's bureaucratic theory came into existence, and bureaucracy refers to the organizations which has features such as rules, procedures, impersonal relations, and elaborate and fairly rigid hierarchy of authority. Rigid, as I stated, it is rigid. The rules and regulations are very strictly followed. So only the proper qualified candidates will be selected. In this, one more issue is only the properly qualified candidates will be selected for the work. All will not get the all will not get the chance, right? Now coming to the elements of bureaucracy. Hierarchy. The rules will be laid in such a way from top to bottom, the positions will be divided. Each lower level office is under the supervision and control of the higher one. Every lower level is under the control of the higher one. And division of work. The total work is divided into specialized jobs. Each employee's work is broken into simple parts, and routine and well-defined task will be given to every worker. And they will be performing number of times the same work. So they will become experts in the course of time. And then rules and regulations. As I told already, the rules will be set in such a way that everybody has to follow. Expected to follow everything. That's it. No other obligations will be provided. And then records. Everything has to be on the paper. Whatever the work is done in the bureaucratic, actually this system of keeping the records started from 1930 in the bureaucratic period only, Max Weber's period. Otherwise, we were not having that system of recording everything. And then interpersonal relationships. Everything should be proceed according to rules. No chance of involvement of emotions or sentiments. And then the decisions must be governed by rational consideration rather than personal factors. Decisions should be rational. They should not be personal factors. Then administrative class. Bureaucracies generally have administrative class responsible for coordinating the work. There will be one class of people, one cadre of people who will be deciding all the factors which are needed, which are the main decisions are taken, and these officials are selected on the basis of their competence and skills. They are selected according to merit, receive special training for their post, and enjoy corporate tenure. They'll enjoy the corporate tenure. And even though there are certain negative points, there are certain advantages also for the bureaucratic structure, like specialization. The structure offers a valid base for dividing work. The person who is who is eligible will be selected. And then rationality. Brings rationality to the organization. Judgments are made with an objective approach only. Logical structuring of bureaucracy provides orderly execution of assigned tasks. There won't be any chance for the sentiments and emotions. So obviously, the things with the decisions will be made with an objective approach. Whatever the decision is taken, it should be in the favor of the productivity or the management favor. Then predictability. The rules, regulations, training, specialization, structure, and other elements of bureaucracy enable to provide predictability and stability in the organization. We can predict these many workers are working, these many hours they are working, these many rules and regulations are there. So this, by the end of this month, this will be the productivity. So prediction can be possible. And stability maintains. Just by the one or two persons absence or present doesn't make any difference in this type. Then comes democracy. It is in this type of organization, rules and regulations bring about consistent behavior among employees. There won't be any change in the behavior. They have to follow the rules. So obviously, the people are selected on the basis of merit and patronage, favoritism, and nothing will be there. And they are not considered at all. So obviously, they will follow all the rules and regulations, and because of the opportunity to train, apply, and selected and be selected for a job, it is open to every citizen. The one most important advantage of bureaucratic management is every person, every citizen may get a chance to get a job. Next, disadvantages. We have many disadvantages because we don't have now bureaucratic management styles, right? So the negative side is rigidity. Main thing is rigidity. It is rigid. There is no flexibility in the rules and regulations. Impersonality. Bureaucracy emphasizes mechanical way of doing things. Rules and regulations are glorified in place of employee needs and emotions. This is a major defect of the bureaucratic management. Displacement of objectives. And organizational procedures become more formalized and individuals are more specialized. It is often becomes a confusing factor. Specialists, when focus on their own department, they may ignore the broader objectives of the organization. That is obviously it has to be done. Compartmentalization of activities. Strict categorization of work restricts people from performing tasks that they are capable of doing. If they are capable also, but they are divided into certain work, so they will do their own. That's all. If they are capable of doing some other also, they won't interfere in that. So compartmentalization is one of the defect. Empire building. Bureaucrats, we listen the word bureaucrats. Bureaucracy often turn managers into empire builders. So for continuing for long exposure of power and authority, the people become uh, like they become like empire builders. So which is not a good quality for a for an organization in its management. Red tape. Everything is recorded on paper in bureaucracy. Files move through endless tables like channel, resulting in the ordinate delay. Finally, the work will be delayed. These troubling criticisms compelled many writers to dismiss bureaucracy as a hopelessly outdated and unwanted creature in the present day for the organization. Even for the human beings and even for the betterment of the organization also, this is not good, they have decided. And finally, human relations approach have come into existence in 20th century. And now also we have the same actually. Like motivations are given to the people in the form of incentives, and informal groups are set up in this human relation approach. The manager will be very friendly with the subordinates or the workers, and then the first of all, we need to talk about the person who has introduced this to us. So this was introduced by um, Elton Mayo. Elton Mayo and his associates at Harvard School of Business and the Western Electric Company, Hawthorne, near Chicago. This is so these people, they have worked and researched on this, and they have laid down certain um, phases from that. Hawthorne, these studies are named as Hawthorne studies. And now let us discuss them. Illumination experiment. They have done all these things on the in the electricity company. So it was done to determine the effect of different levels of illumination on workers' productivity. Different aspects they have tried on the workers' productivity. The rate of increase in the work. They have tried relay assembly test room experiment. This experiment was conducted to observe the effects of various changes in working conditions of workers' output and morals. They were tested. The people were tested with the morals and mass interviewing program. Overall, the group of people will be asked general questions, and then they were tested. In bank wiring experiment, this is group behavior workers performing a task in a natural setting. When they are working, generally they were asked questions and they were tested. And conclusions from the Hawthorne studies are the social and psychological factors at the workplace, not the physical conditions of the workplace, determine the employees' moral and output. Not the physical conditions, whether they are given very less time to work, more time to work, more mm, facilities are given, not based on that, but the output will be based on the psychological factors, whether the workplace is friendly or whether the workplace is free for them. Based on those, the outputs are based. The organization is a social system. They said that it is like a social outside, how the people will be moving in the groups, how they will be affecting each other. Like that, the organization is also a social system. And non-economic rewards and sanctions also significantly play a role in the output and behavior of the worker. And then workers are not inert or isolated, unrelated individuals. They are social animals. That's the first statement what we had in the starting, the introduction. A human being is a social animal. So when he is in the group and when he is happy, when he is given a little freedom to work, then the output will be good. They have given the results of the studies. Division of labor strictly on specialization is not necessarily the most efficient approach. It is not only the efficient approach that based on the specialization only the worker has to be divided, but based on many other things also they can be divided. The workers have a tendency to form small groups other than formal, like other than the departments in this organization. They have their own friend circle group, like canteens. They'll be meeting and they will be having a lunch time to meet and sit and together and talk, like that. Such the production norms and behavioral patterns are set by such groups actually. So they have observed all these things, right? Now coming to the, thus the findings of Hawthorne studies revolutionized the organizational thought and gave rise to new theory called human relation theory. So Mayo developed one more theory called human relation theory. Even after the criticism, human relation theory is regarded as the major development in the management or organizational behavior till date, till now. So we can expect the questions on Foyle's scientific management theory, Taylor's scientific management theory, Foyle's theory, and one more is Max Weber's bureaucratic theory, and then last this Elton Mayo's human relation theory also we may expect. Separately questions we may expect, and overall he may ask a question, right, different approaches. There may be a chance. So that's all for this week. We will go with the next third and fourth chapters in the coming week. Hope you enjoyed the class. Thank you.